Dr. Andrea Shanowski from Freedom Chiropractic and Holistic Health in the Peoria Metro Center and our YouTube channel, Health and Horsepower. This week, I want to talk to you about the early signs of arthritis that a lot of people ignore and overlook that could be your body's way of telling you it's time to get some help. So if you are dealing with stiffness, so if you wake up in the morning and your joints feel stiff and achy, like they don't want to move, that's a sign that your ligaments could be stiffening up or have some inflammation or possibly some micro injuries to them. And in the morning, those are actually tightening up and pulling your joints together, which in turn eventually will lead to that cartilage in between the joints getting worn down after time. If you're dealing with any mild swelling, so say you go outside and do some gardening, or you go to work, or you do some lifting or something, and you feel like you are a little bit swollen afterwards and you're sore afterwards, that's a sign that you could be having either some joint injury going on. Again, that cartilage could be irritated. We could have muscle weakness or even some micro traumas and micro tears in the soft tissue surrounding the joints. And that's your body's way of telling you, hey, these muscles are not equipped to deal with that type of loading, and they get damaged. And if we're not recuperating and rebuilding properly, that damage will continue and eventually can lead to arthritis. So it's very important to make sure as much as possible that you are listening to your body. So if you're having stiffness, if you're having decreased range of motion, if you're having swelling or any type of irritation or pain after you do activities or specific motions, that may be your body's way of giving you signals and giving you clues and information that you have a biomechanic issue starting, that the longer you wait could progress, leading to not only tears in the soft tissue, but we can see actual breakdown of the cartilage process. And eventually that can lead to arthritis, because what tends to happen is your body is an adaptable organism. So when we have inflammation in a joint, your body will start to form swelling and form white blood cells to go in there and heal up the damage and clean up some of the injury. But if we're constantly having injury over and over and over again on a regular basis with those micro traumas and micro tears, you're constantly having inflammation in an area. What'll tend to happen is that inflammation, your body's going to say, hey, we're not getting that under control. It's going to start actually forming calcium deposits. And do you know what calcium deposits do? They form bone spurs and arthritis. So if you have a joint that is inflamed and not moving properly for a long period of time, not only can you get a breakdown of the soft tissue and the cartilage, eventually your body will build extra arthritis and extra bone. So say, for example, you've got two of your vertebrae in your spine, which are kind of almost like a cylinder shape. They stack on top of one another with a disc in between. What tends to happen is your body will actually build all the way around that cylinder and form bone spur that is jagged and sharp to give more steady base for that extra pressure on that joint. But the reality is that that pointy bone spur actually can press against your ligaments, press against your nerves, press against the holes where your spinal cord comes through, and that can cause further issues with nerve pain, sciatic pain. We can have more sharp shooting pain or spasms coming because your body tries to adapt. So when you get inflammation, like I said, it'll form more inflammation. Try to heal it as much as it can. If it can't, eventually we will have issues where your muscle spasm to prevent you from moving that area. And eventually it can lead to arthritis forming and that extra bone development as your body's way of making a stable base and trying to prevent more motion in a joint that's irritated. So early signs, you got to make sure you're paying attention to those. So if you have pain, if you have swelling, inflammation, stiffness, or decreased motion, that's a sign that joint's not moving well and needs assistance and needs investigation as to what's going on. So please don't feel like you can't set up an appointment. We do consultations all the time. We do second opinions to really figure out what's going on and give you some advice on what steps or pathways you could take now to prevent arthritis before it happens. Because once we have arthritis, there's a lot more work to do to reverse it or try to balance those joints rather than taking care of it prematurely. So we want to make sure as much as possible we are preventing injury, preventing arthritis rather than waiting till it already happens and trying to go backwards. So give our office a call, 309-689-6200. And again, we're located in the Metro Center.